Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm.
We are stepping deep into the world of Cary Glen, a place where, manicured lawns and this whole high achievement culture.
Hmm.
It's all masking a level of darkness that is genuinely shocking.
It really is.
We have pored over the detailed sources tracking a single catastrophic event in this affluent Dublin suburb. And the whole thing, it begins with a simple, almost banal administrative error.
Right, a mistake on an address for a playdate.
Exactly. And from there, it just spirals into identity manipulation, cold-blooded murder, and the exposure of a 4-year-old lie that just it defies belief.
This deep dive is unique because the source material provides a forensic, almost step-by-step account of a psychological and criminal descent. It's quite something.
And it is.
We're not just tracking a missing child case here. What we're really doing is charting how one single selfish choice made by a privileged man years earlier acts as a kind of time bomb.
That's a great way to put it, a time bomb.
Our mission today is to follow that chain of consequence, to really understand how deeply embedded deception can become in a life that's, built on this idea of perfection.
And what happens when that bomb finally goes off?
Exactly. And it takes several lives with it.
That initial, seemingly minor mistake, the wrong address, it's the pin that pulls the grenade. So let's start right there, Friday afternoon. Let's focus on Marissa Irvine, the mother of the missing boy, Milo, and just the frantic confusion that erupts. The opening scene is just a masterpiece of rising panic. You have Marissa, she's late, she's stressed, and she's totally focused on maintaining that veneer, the perfectly organized Cary Glen parent.
Of course. It's all about appearances.
So she drives to what she believes is 14 Tudor Grove for Milo's first play date with a boy named Jacob Kennedy. But when she rings the bell, the woman who answers, it's not who she's expecting.
Right, it's a woman named Esther. And immediately, the puzzle pieces just refuse to fit.
It's that moment of existential dread every parent experiences, I think. Esther, the homeowner, she's kind, but she is clearly not Jacob's mother, Jenny Kennedy.
And Esther confirms her son Jacob is there, but Milo Irvine is absolutely not.
And that's when Marissa realizes she had the wrong address for Jenny.
And the devastating insight here is Marissa's reliance on this really superficial social connection. She'd met Jenny only once.
Once, at a school social.
Right, where they bonded over the ridiculous coincidence of both wearing the same distinct dress. That was it.
And based on that, she accepted the playdate invitation via text. She convinces herself that this tiny bit of familiarity meant she wasn't sending her child off with a, quote, stranger.
It's a justification, isn't it? A way to make a convenient choice feel safe.
Completely. And Esther, who runs a local cafe and is this wonderful sort of grounding presence throughout the story, she helps Marissa call the police.
But that simple mistake, Marissa trusting a text from someone she barely knew, it means the initial investigation begins at the wrong house.
Detective Sergeant McConville and Detective Garda Breen arrive, and their first priority is finding an immediate culprit, which, it very quickly turns to the family au pair.
Yes, the focus immediately shifts to Anna, the Irvine's beloved au pair. Anna was scheduled to be off for the weekend, traveling to Galway.
And of course, Marissa and Peter, the parents, they can't reach her phone.
And this is where the first crack in the Irvine's perfect administration appears. Peter, while he's reviewing Anna's records, realizes the listed address on her CV is an old one, a city center flat.
They never bothered to update it.
Never bothered to update or even confirm her current Dunloghair address. So the immediate suspicion, which is really fueled by police skepticism, is whether this trusted nanny is actually the kidnapper.
And Marissa is desperately defending her, isn't she? Insisting she's like family, that she loves Milo. But the doubt is already there.
The doubt is cast. And as the police are collecting details, the descriptions provided about 4-year-old Milo are incredibly specific. Some are relevant for the search, obviously, but some are vital to the eventual solution.
Let's start with the medical details, because those are urgent facts in any missing child case.
The Irvines are very, very detailed about Milo's sensitivities. He's highly intolerant to dairy, to soap.
It causes immediate hives, they say.
Yes. And paracetamol. But crucially, they mention the shellfish allergy.
Which is Peter's allergy, right? The father's.
Exactly. Peter has a severe shellfish allergy, and even though Milo hasn't been formally tested, they treat it as a suspected allergy. They avoid shellfish entirely.
So these specifics immediately create an urgency.
Yeah.
What if the kidnapper is unaware of his needs?
Precisely. But the truly unique trait they mention is one that the police, Detective Garda Breen in particular, immediately discount as just superfluous detail.
Milo's synesthesia.
This is a pivotal detail. Marissa describes Milo as unusually bright, obsessed with colors, and specifically, she says he's always talking about the color of things, even things we can't see, like letters and numbers.
Like Tuesday is green, or the number 5 is a bright orange.
Exactly. And Breen looks utterly perplexed. He clearly views this as some abstract quirk of a highly imaginative child, not a fact that aids a criminal investigation.
But for you, for the listener, this is the signpost. This is the big flashing light.
Absolutely. Synesthesia, the crossing of sensory pathways, is a highly specific, often genetic trait. Its inclusion here is anything but incidental.
That distinction between what's a necessary search fact and what's a dismissible quirk is it's fantastic foreshadowing.
It is, and just when suspicion is highest against Anna, the au pair.
She walks back into the house.
Distraught, confirming she was not the one who collected Milo.
And that just shifts the whole narrative instantly.
Anna is cleared. The police then proceed to Milo's school and they interview his teacher, Mr. Williams.
And Mr. Williams confirms that Milo was collected.
Yes, but by someone who appeared to be a young minder or nanny with long red hair. This is the crucial physical description that defines the search from this point forward.
And the implication being that on a high-traffic day like a Friday, teachers rely on the child recognizing the minder. Right. They trust Milo, who's described as gifted and smart, not to leave with a complete stranger.
Exactly. So this red-haired nanny is now the focus. It confirms that someone deliberately impersonated a minder and took Milo.
So the case officially moves from a search for a runaway nanny
to a genuine, targeted kidnapping.
And the immediate suspect is, of course, the Kennedy's nanny, the one who was supposed to be looking after Jacob for the playdate.
Carrie Finch. The focus abruptly shifts away from the Irvines and onto the periphery players. Jenny Kennedy, who's away in Paris for work, gets this panicked call from her husband, Richie, telling her Carrie is the prime suspect.
And the background that Jenny initially gives the police. It's exactly what Carrie wanted them to hear, isn't it? It's a carefully curated persona, designed for trust and pity.
Oh, precisely. Jenny described Carrie as quiet, shy, 25 years old, a live-in nanny from the Wicklow countryside, interested in saving up to be a vet.
And the hook. The key emotional detail she used to bond with Jenny
was her tragic memory. Both her parents died. She also mentioned having 3 older brothers abroad, Caleb, Scott, and Cole. This background is so meticulously constructed to be unimpeachable. A tragic, aspirational young woman.
But that whole construction immediately falls apart when Jenny gets time alone to think, still reeling in her Paris hotel room.
This is where Carrie's identity fabrication moves from just, professional misconduct to deeply premeditated deceit. While Jenny is just scrolling through her phone, distraught, she sees a dramatic argument on an American TV series.
The Affair.
And the names of the 2 male characters involved in the drama are Cole and Caleb.
Oh, no.
Jenny checks the credits and confirms the realization. Carrie had fabricated her entire sibling family, lifting the names Caleb, Scott, and Cole Lockhart directly from the show.
Wow. That isn't just a minor lie on a CV.
No, it's the construction of a whole false life using popular culture as the source material. It's chilling.
That is a chilling detail. It speaks to a level of psychological manipulation where she's not just hiding her past, but actively building a believable, yet entirely fictional, future. This red-haired, quiet nanny is a total fabrication.
And that's confirmed when Jenny, despite thinking it was inappropriate, searches Carrie's room.
She feels she has to.
She feels a crinkle in the duvet and pulls out a hidden Polaroid. It's a photo of a man, pale face, dark stubble, a wary, dangerous look. Jenny doesn't know him, but she immediately suspects this is the criminal element Carrie is linked to.
And that Polaroid is the thread that leads to the criminal underworld. She searches the name Kyle Bird and eventually finds the police file for Kyle Bird.
And the search results are horrifying for Jenny. Kyle Bird's history is splashed across the screen. Assault, burglary, prison time, possession with intent to sell.
So she calls the police.
She does. And she's desperately clinging to the hope that maybe this dangerous man forced the quiet Carrie into the kidnapping, maintaining this hope that Carrie was still just a naive victim.
But the sources show Carrie's involvement was far more voluntary than Jenny wants to believe.
Much more.
While the police are dealing with this new criminal angle, the focus shifts back to the community where this entire tragedy is unfolding, the Carrie Glen School gate. And the sources, they paint a really stark picture of the societal pressure and outright judgment faced by the Irvines and the Kennedys.
Oh, the coven, as Marissa sometimes privately refers to the other Carrie Glen parents. immediately turns the tragedy into a moral judgment.
They really do.
Parents like Sarah Rayburn and Victor begin openly criticizing both families. For the Irvines, the judgment is harsh. They deserved it because of their privileged, high-pressure, hot housing lifestyle.
They're criticized for hiring a randomer from the internet, never mind,
Yeah.
that half the community does the exact same thing,
Yeah.
and for projecting this golden couple image.
The entire community seems to derive this toxic satisfaction from the cracks appearing in the Irvines' perfect facade.
It's social schadenfreude at its most vicious, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The tragedy of a missing child is immediately white-eyed to critique their socioeconomic status, their parenting choices, everything.
Meanwhile, the crisis also drags in the genuine biological family of Carrie Finch, or rather, Caroline Murphy Hall and Turner Bird. It starts with her estranged mother, Irene Turner.
And Irene Turner is a fascinating, repulsive character study.
She really is. She's been estranged from her daughter for 9 years, during which her daughter constructed several new identities. And Irene's immediate preoccupation is not her daughter's fate or Milo's return.
It's money.
Financial gain. She quickly connects with a journalist, Faye Foster, obsessed with selling her story and publicly distancing herself from the mess Caroline has created.
She's worried about reputation and money.
Which reveals the deep dysfunction in Carrie's biological past, especially when she finds a scrapbook revealing Caroline knew about Rob Murphy, her career criminal father, whom Irene had always lied about, claiming he was a sailor.
Wow. So the stage is set. We have the criminal elements, the psychological manipulation, the social critique.
Yeah.
And then the kidnappers introduce a terrible misdirection, something designed to stop the entire search effort cold.
The discovery of Milo's lime green raincoat with the silver dinosaurs, carefully placed on the rocks of Killiney Hill. It's just calculated cruelty.
And the location, down by the sea. It's clearly meant to suggest a drowning.
Oh, absolutely. And Marissa immediately grasps the calculation. This is the kidnapper and their male accomplice faking the child's death. McConville, the detective, later admits this is highly likely.
And the goal is clear, right?
Completely. Stop the massive, intrusive public search effort by providing a definitive, though false, outcome. That way, no ransom is necessary and the trail goes cold.
And the emotional devastation for Marissa and Peter is total. They believe their son is dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly dark moment.
After that deliberate act of cruelty, the relief, when Milo is finally found, must have just been overwhelming. 7 long days pass, and then he's located, unharmed.
He is found by a newspaper delivery man, sound asleep in a locked car on a residential street in Sandymount, Dublin 4. It's a remarkable stroke of luck, or, perhaps a calculated release by the kidnappers.
Either way, the questions just rapidly multiply, especially once the psychological interviewers get a chance to speak to Milo.
Mm-hmm.
What key information does the 4-year-old provide that points the police to the sequence of murders that follows?
Well, Milo confirms he was taken from Carrie's house, which police quickly link to a rental property in Sandymount. Crucially, he talks about the man who woke him up, a man who had a black cover on his face and called him a monster.
A monster. A 4-year-old.
Yes. The man put him in the car and explicitly told him he would be hurt by a bad, bad man if he got out of the vehicle. So this confirms the direct involvement of the male accomplice.
Then Milo also reveals Carrie took a photo of him, right?
Yes, just his face, smiling, which we later realized was for the forged passport documentation.
And while the police are working this lead, Jenny Kennedy, still trying to help from Paris, provides a chilling phonetic clue.
Yes, the Danny Vaughn written on her son Jacob's chalkboard.
Jacob had overheard Carrie on the phone saying this name.
And Jenny connects it to a body found in Dublin, initially named Danny Vaughn in the local reports. This tip is huge.
So the police raid Vaughn's house.
They do. And while searching, they pull up floorboards in a bedroom and find old letters addressed to Kyle Bird, confirming the close connection between Vaughn and Bird, likely from their time in prison.
And this is the first major twist in the sequence of deaths, because the body they thought was Danny Vaughn.
Turns out to be the man from the Polaroid.
Kyle Bird.
Exactly. The body is formally identified as Kyle Bird, the criminal element, the presumed accomplice, the man with the assault and burglary history, and Carrie's alleged boyfriend. He is dead.
So the police now have a kidnapping suspect whose accomplice has been murdered.
Which immediately elevates the search. They are no longer looking for kidnappers, but likely for murderers.
And within hours, that search leads them to the Sandymount safe house where Milo was kept.
And they find Carrie Finch, the red-haired nanny, dead.
Oh.
She's found dead in the house, likely smothered in her bed with a pillow.
So the timeline is incredibly tight, Milo is found, and then Kyle Bird and Carrie Finch are found dead in quick succession, both bearing marks of foul play.
With the two central suspects eliminated, the police are now urgently searching for a third perpetrator, or the true culprit behind the entire sequence of events.
This sudden escalation of violence is when the perfect golden life of Marissa and Peter Irvine starts to completely unravel, and it pulls in Marissa's professional partner, Colin Dobson, as a very convenient scapegoat.
Colin Dobson's involvement is a critical turn toward internal betrayal. Peter's sister, Leah, who's visiting from New York, is doing her own, deep dive on social media and finds a shocking photo.
What is it?
It's Colin Marissa's long-term law firm partner and college friend gazing adoringly at this beautiful, glamorous woman in an upscale bar. This woman, who he knew as Lena,
Is undeniably Carrie Finch.
it is. But she's not the mousy, shy nanny, Carrie. She is this glamorous, highly cultivated persona, Lena, the alleged writer.
The dual identity is just astounding.
It really is. Carrie Finch was the quiet girl in trainers. Lena was the high-fashion, confident woman who frequented upmarket Dublin bars and claimed to be a writer researching the hyper-privileged South Dublin set.
So Colin is forced to confront Marissa and Peter, and he confesses to dating Lena.
He does, and he explains his terror. He says he didn't report the connection because he was already compromised. He admits he'd been dating Lena for months and frequently brought her up to the office after hours. But more importantly,
There's more.
he had stolen audit-related files, specifically the Fenelon and Downey Estates files, from Marissa's office.
So he feared exposure of both the affair with a nanny linked to a kidnapping and his existing professional misconduct.
The expert analysis here shows that Carrie, or Lena, didn't date him because she loved him, but because she saw him as an extremely useful tool for access and infiltration. Absolutely. The source confirms that while Colin was out getting wine for them one night, Carrie used his easy access to the Irvine and Dobson office stationery and printer to create a forged professional reference,
which she then used to rent the Sandy Mountain safe house where Milo was held.
Colin wasn't just a clueless boyfriend. He was an unwitting conspirator whose existing misconduct made him the perfect silent accomplice.
And his attempt to distance himself from the scandal and his prior professional betrayal, it costs him his life.
Colin Dobson is later found dead, the third murder in this terrifying sequence.
Wow.
Evidence at the scene strongly suggests a money handover gone wrong. McConville speculates this could link him to Rob Murphy, Carrie's criminal father, who was helping arrange the kidnapping.
But the timing is so important. Colin became the ideal temporary scapegoat for Peter Irvine.
For Peter, who could feed the police information about Colin's affair and his stolen files, diverting suspicion entirely away from himself and onto the man who was already professionally compromised.
Peter was meticulously tying up his loose ends.
One by one.
This brings us to the shocking climax. The moment Marissa forces the truth out of her husband, using the one detail the police dismissed. Synesthesia. Let's spend some time on this scientific emotional clue because it is the linchpin of the whole mystery.
The synesthesia clue is just a brilliant narrative device. Peter had mentioned overhearing Carrie in the playground saying, "Tuesday is green too."
That simple phrase.
A simple phrase which mirrors exactly how Milo describes his days and letters, and it just clicks with Marissa. She realizes that synesthesia is often a genetic trait.
And she connects this genetic link to Peter's own severe shellfish allergy, which led him to suspect Milo might have the same allergy.
The combination of the medical and the genetic markers, it forces the confrontation.
She confronts him directly, doesn't she? Whose baby died in the fatal road accident 4 years prior.
And Peter can't deflect the specific scientific evidence. The confession that follows is the source of all the subsequent chaos. He breaks completely. He admits he knew Carrie's true identity, Caroline Murphy, because she was the other driver in the devastating road accident 4 years ago. This was the accident that resulted in the death of Peter's biological newborn son.
The reality is so much darker than a simple cover-up.
So much darker.
Let's detail the specifics of that baby swap. This is the moment where the perfect husband reveals himself to be a panicked monster.
Peter confesses that his baby, who was tiny and fragile, had died in the crash. And in a moment of pure selfish panic and self-preservation, the preservation of his perfect gold-plated life, he took advantage of the carnage.
What did he do?
He saw the other driver, Carrie or Caroline, unconscious. He took her living newborn baby.
And he swapped them.
He swapped the babies. He placed his deceased son into her car seat and reported the living child as his own surviving son.
So the baby Marissa had lovingly raised for 4 years as Milo, Peter's son.
was actually the biological son of Caroline Murphy and Kyle Bird.
The scale of the deception is just staggering. This wasn't a kidnapping for money. It was a desperate, primal effort at reclamation because Caroline Murphy realized the truth.
That's the crux of the kidnapping motive. 7 months prior to these events, Caroline, now working as Carrie Finch, saw Peter and Milo in the playground. She realized the devastating switch.
So her subsequent identity construction, her job as the Kennedys' nanny.
It was purely to infiltrate the Carrie Glynn social circle and reclaim her son. Her criminal father, Rob Murphy, helped organize the logistics, securing forged passports.
Including one for Robin Watkins.
Yes, designed to disguise Milo as a girl so they could flee undetected to West Cork.
But Peter, realizing his lie was exposed, found the forged reference Carrie used to rent the Sandymount house, hidden behind a printer in his own office. He tracks them down. And this is when he commits the 3 murders, starting with Carrie.
Peter went to the Sandymount safe house under the guise of being the heroic father rescuing his son, but when he found Carrie there, he murdered her. He admits to smothering her with a pillow.
And here's the difference between panic and control. He did this not because she was threatening Milo in that moment.
No, but because he feared she would continue to try and reclaim Milo even if she went to prison. He believed they would never be free of her threat.
This move transforms him from a selfish liar into a cold, premeditated murderer.
Completely. He then had to cover his tracks regarding Kyle Bird, who had been involved in the logistics of the kidnapping, and the police were linking Bird to Vaughn and the criminal element.
So we can infer that Peter likely located Kyle Bird.
Probably through Rob Murphy's connections, or perhaps through information gleaned from Carrie's effects. Peter eliminated Bird because he was a direct threat to the secret and a loose cannon. Then, to manage the police investigation, Peter uses the perfect foil, Colin Dobson.
Let's discuss Peter's systematic framing of Colin. How did he protect himself while simultaneously eliminating 2 more threats? Colin and Rob Murphy, the father.
Well, Peter had already confessed to Marissa that he lied about an anonymous call on Sunday night, claiming it was just a busybody.
But it wasn't.
It was actually Rob Murphy, Carrie's father, who phoned Peter and threatened blackmail, demanding payment to keep the baby swap secret.
So Peter, now fully committed to the murderous cover-up, decided to eliminate both the blackmailer and the police's prime external suspect.
Exactly. He used Colin's existing professional guilt, the stolen files, and the secret affair with Lena to great effect, feeding strategic, suggestive information to the police. He murdered Colin during the arranged money handover, making it look like a criminal dispute.
And thereby protected his 4-year-old lie and ensured the safekeeping of his stolen son.
It's just layer upon layer of monstrousness.
Peter Irvine, the golden husband of Carrie Glynn, is now a triple murderer, a baby swapper, and the sole architect of this entire catastrophe. But the police never get their chance to hold him accountable.
No. 6 months later, Peter dies suddenly while on holiday with Marissa in Marbella. The cause is anaphylactic shock.
The shellfish allergy.
The known, severe, and documented shellfish allergy. He accidentally ingested shellfish contained within a locally bought stock cube while preparing dinner in their holiday apartment.
And the single most provocative detail in the entire source material focuses on Marissa's final actions in Marbella.
Marissa, who does not speak Spanish, purchased the stock cube. The implication, which is strongly hinted at by the narrative's resolution, is that she should have known the risk or verified the ingredients.
And when Peter went into severe anaphylactic shock,
Marissa could not locate her husband's EpiPen.
it's positioned as an accident.
But wrapped in layers and layers of suspicion, Peter's monstrous secrets die with him.
And the final act of healing for Marissa is bringing Milo home, safe, where he is now being cared for by a new, profoundly trustworthy figure.
Yes, Milo is safe at home in Dublin under the care of his wonderful nanny, who is revealed to be Esther.
The woman from the beginning. The wrong address.
The cafe owner, the woman who initially answered the wrong address. This is the only character who demonstrated genuine, selfless compassion from the very beginning, and she becomes the anchor for Milo in a world rocked by betrayal and death.
A perfect circle.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture, the entire catastrophic body count, the kidnapping, the framing, the triple murder, it wasn't the result of some vast criminal enterprise.
No.
It was the devastating long-tail fallout from Peter Irvine's single, selfish, panic decision 4 years prior to switch 2 babies at an accident scene.
Peter, the man who demanded the perfect life, was the true monster, masquerading in the golden couple's high-achieving suburban life.
The moral of the source material isn't about the dangers of nannies, it's about the moral corruption bred by extreme privilege and the need for flawless appearances.
That desire for the flawless appearance is what made him murder and what made him capable of framing his own partner. The social critique found in the sources, where the Kerguelen parents judged Marissa for having a randomer nanny, they completely missed the real rot.
They missed the rot inside the house of the perfect husband.
Mm.
And we do see some threads of closure for the peripheral characters who were caught in this vortex. Jenny and Richie Kennedy, whose marriage was crumbling under the strain of Richie's interfering mother, Adeline, find resolution.
Richie finally stands up to his mother.
He does. And they also realize that Carrie wrote the anonymous, damaging notes about their cleaner mark to cause marital discord, leveraging Jenny's private confidences purely for revenge.
Even Irene Turner, the mercenary biological mother, she gives up her pursuit of media fame with Faye Foster.
Yes. She chooses to move to Bristol with Frank, opting for a quiet life over the notoriety her daughter's tragedy afforded her. The chaos settles, but the most profound questions remain with Marissa.
This is the ultimate moral tightrope walk the listener is left with, isn't it?
I think so. You have to consider the moral weight and intent behind Marissa's final act in Marbella. Was Peter's death truly a tragic accident, a horrifying but random twist involving a mislabeled stock cube and a misplaced EpiPen?
Or was it the ultimate calculated move of a protective mother who had just confirmed her husband was a double murderer, a baby swapper, and the greatest ongoing threat to the stolen son she raised?
She knew that if Peter survived, the truth about Milo would eventually come out. The trauma of the switch, the kidnapping, the subsequent murders, it would destroy Milo's future completely.
Did Marissa choose justice and safety for her son over legal consequences for her husband, ending the threat permanently? It's a profound act of moral ambiguity.
It forces you to ask, what happens when the legal system is incapable of providing the justice you need to secure your child's safety? Marissa, the lawyer, uses the chaos of Peter's own crimes and allergies to provide a final, definitive resolution that secures the 4-year-old lie as a permanent truth for Milo.
And let's bring it full circle back to the synesthesia. The only person who saw through the chaos and the profound layers of adult deception from the very beginning was 4-year-old Milo. His unique trait seeing Monday is blue, Tuesday is green. It allowed him to perceive colored connections and truth in a world that adults, blinded by their own self-deception, pretended was strictly black and white.
What innate genetic knowledge did Milo hold that allowed him to instantly connect with Carrie, his biological mother, but perhaps also recoil from Peter, the man who stole him? It raises this powerful, haunting thought that the youngest and least sophisticated character held the most critical yet disregarded information about the reality of his own parentage and the character of the man claiming to be his father.
A truly unsettling realization that the truth was always visible, just, not in the language the police or the parents are willing to understand. That's something for you to mull over as you navigate your own perfectly curated lives this week.